inside Terminal 2, the lower level by baggage. The active shooter shot at least 13 people. 8 people, as I know right now, are in area hospitals being treated. I don't know the degree of their injuries. 5 people have succumbed to their wounds and tragically are dead. We are not releasing any information on any of the victims until we identify them, which is going to take some time, and we are able to respectfully notify the next of kin first. The investigation continues. We have area SWAT teams and the Broward Sheriff's Office SWAT team clearing the entire airport. There'll be no movement in or about the airport until our SWAT teams give me real-time information that it's safe. Right now, we're taking this scene is considered fluid and active. We won't be. Well, we have one of the more critical pieces of information is we have the shooter in custody. He's unharmed. No law enforcement fired any shots. The subject is being interviewed by a team of FBI agents and Broward Sheriff's Office homicide detectives. There's been incredible cohesiveness and cooperation between the Broward Sheriff's Office, the FBI, FDLE, and all the local law enforcement entities. We'll answer your questions at the end. We'll answer your questions at the end. At this point, I'm going to put the director of the airport on to tell you about what's going on at the airport. Then you'll be hearing from the SAC, Mr. Piro. Then I'll come back and answer questions.
Thank you, Sheriff. As the Sheriff said, my name is Mark Gale. I'm the airport director here at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. When the incident occurred, we responded. Many of you know that we've suspended operations at the airport for the time being. We're working together with all the law enforcement to address all the needs and concerns of the passengers that are inside the building and on airplanes right now. They are all sheltered in place. We're not sure exactly when the airport will reopen for operations. We're going to work together with all the law enforcement that's here, our airlines, and all the other agencies before we actually move to reopen up the airport. And in the meantime, as the Sheriff has indicated, we're just going to go step by step, methodically through the building before we take any steps to reopen operations. We'll keep everybody informed as best we can through social media and our airport website as to when that may occur. And we'll also be setting up a hotline for families or friends that may be looking for folks that they haven't been able to reach and contact with, and we'll also publish that in the relatively near future, again on our website and out through website and through social media. That's all I have for now.
Okay, the airport director right there, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, talking about that ground stop. And here we can see, I was actually watching these live images right here as he was talking, that news conference from earlier tonight. It looks like some of the aircraft are starting to move around the airport on the tarmac, possibly back to the gate. You can see a gangway right there, possibly to offload some passengers on board some of those aircraft that have been waiting, scattered about the tarmac and the runways there at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. Some of those passengers had been on those aircraft for several hours since this shooting took place around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Actually, you see that gangway pulling up to that Southwest Airlines jet right there. Hopefully some of those passengers finally getting relief and getting off those aircraft. We've seen a number of buses arriving on the tarmac as well. We heard earlier, I believe it was from Brandon Beyer, that over at Port Everglades, they are setting up a station there to take some of these passengers. Eventually, family members can reunite at that location. Again, that information coming from one of our reporters in the field earlier tonight. Now, on the investigation front, again, we heard from Broward Sheriff Scott Israel in that news conference as well a little bit earlier tonight, saying that, again, they have a subject in custody. Florida Senator Bill Nelson saying Esteban Santiago is that person who is being questioned right now by local and federal authorities. But at this point, no confirmation on that name.
Spanish,
but we did see that picture of that individual a little bit earlier this evening. So
Spanish
those reports right now here in the news.
Santiago.
Transition. As soon as these initial reports came out from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International, President Obama was alerted to the shooting by his Homeland Security assistant. And just a few moments ago, President Obama gave his remarks on this mass shooting that took place earlier today in Fort Lauderdale. Let's listen to the president.
I don't want to comment on it other than just to say
he ain't gonna be the president no more.
How heartbroken we are for the families who've been affected. These kinds of tragedies have happened too often during the 8 years that I've been president.